Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Finishing Touch, a podcast giving advice to the younger generation of American soccer players. My name is Riley James. This is a podcast via the State Soccer Network.
Today's show is sponsored by Steezy. From comfort to function, Steezy thought of it all with their brand new React No-Show and Adapt Essential Crew. Steezy, the athletic sock for you. Keep moving forward.
Today on the phone, we have an incredible guest who is it all. Everything that every player is trying to do, he has done it. Tyson Wahl, the Academy Director for Austin FC. Tyson, what's going on, man?
Not much.
I want to talk about this with you. You have participated in playing soccer. You are now the Academy Director. Obviously, that switch had to be difficult for you. How did you take your experience as a player and push it towards teaching young players?
I mean, there's so many transferable skills that young athletes learn as they go along. The process of being a youth player, a college player, and a professional athlete. Dealing with confidence and resilience, work ethic. There's so many attributes of a successful young athlete that help transfer into their next profession. And so, really, I mean, believe it or not, playing soccer and coaching soccer are two entirely different worlds. So I would say that change and transfer for myself was probably more challenging than I was expecting, to be honest with you. And I think I use all of these kind of deeply ingrained skills that I have, my work ethic and ability to deal with resilience, to kind of help me in my current profession. And so I finished playing in 2016, and then I started my youth coaching career right after, actually, officially, and then was fortunate enough to be here in Austin and coaching in the local youth environment, and to have gained some valuable experience by that time, and to get this opportunity to work for the club. So I'm very grateful for what I do now, and motivated every single day.
So obviously you have had quite the career. You were the 19th overall pick in 2006. You were 11-year MLSer. You played for 5 different clubs, and
that's right.
Obviously you went through the youth development system. You were drafted out of Cal Berkeley. How have you seen the process to become a professional soccer player change since you were trying to come up and play in MLS versus how it is now with developmental academies and the super draft and kind of this revamped MLS? I guess it's 4.0 now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point, good topic. Makes me feel a little bit old because it is quite different than what's happening now for our players and U.S.-based players and through MLS academies, and through all the improvement and resources that are available now. It's quite different. I played for a big club in California, the Irvine Strikers, and it's a great club. They're still around. Very successful club, and we had a lot of really talented players on those teams. But the process to kind of get into the pathway and even to get into college was quite different then than it is now. And then especially making the transition to pro, that's an entirely different world now. The college game is still incredibly valuable for players to continue to develop, and you see a ton of players go from college to pro. The introduction of well-run academies across the nation has totally changed the picture. The tactics and the environment that our players are surrounding themselves in now, it's a much different environment than the one that I was in, and hopefully it continues to raise the overall level of our players here in the U.S., improving the league and improving our national team.
So how would you say it's different? Because obviously it's grown a lot since you were trying to get in the league. What is the biggest difference you see between when you were trying to come up and what you do at Austin now?
I think the resources, the structure that's provided to young players, and then I think the dream of what can happen, and the belief that making it professional is real. I didn't, as a young player, growing up in Irvine, I don't really think I knew that becoming a pro was a real possibility for me. And all the players in our academy know that this is a real possibility. They see the first team players training. Occasionally we're training right next to the first team players. So it's just a different environment. For me, what's important is that we maintain some of that grittiness and some of that toughness and the hardworking aspect. I think that's really important, because we're providing an amazing environment for players to succeed, but it's also on them, right? This long-term process, this long-term journey they're going to go on. It's important that they have other characteristics that are going to help them succeed.
So you're working with some of these kids at Austin, and obviously we've seen so many people come out of the Dallas Academy and the Red Bulls Academy. Do you have any names that we should expect to be pretty heavy hitters next year or a couple years down the line at Austin FC to kind of create that next great MLS Academy?
I mean, we're an ambitious club, and so we want to be one of the best academies in the country, and we're working really hard to do that and to create a really good system for players to develop. We really proud of the staff members here and their work ethic and their professionalism and what they're doing for the players. We have a lot of talented players, that's for sure, and there's players here in Austin, Central Texas, San Antonio with a lot of talent, and we're also, I think, attracting players from outside Austin and San Antonio as well. So I think there's players in the pipeline. I'm probably not going to single out anyone specifically. We do have, so right now our oldest players are under 17. So I think, in the near future, I hope to have some players, being considered for the first team.
I've seen the results that the youth teams are putting out. You guys are crushing people. Can you talk a little bit about the actual current structure and things you got going on right now? Because it seems like the youth teams are doing pretty well.
Yeah, we've had a strong start to the season. The league we play in is really competitive, and I think there are new teams being added to the league, and the league is growing, and I think that's really important to continue to have a presence in all different geographical areas across the country. But we're improving each year, and I think for us it's important that we play in competitive games, and as COVID decreases, we want to add international exposure to our players, which will be really important for their development and to challenge them. And then playing players up too is something we need to do to continue to challenge our players.
It's funny you mentioned international competition, because I feel like you're reading my notes. The experience I want to talk about with you in particular, you were involved in the U17 FIFA World Championships at 16. You were part of that tournament for the U.S. One, did you know where Trinidad and Tobago was? And two, what do you take away from that experience that you try to parlay into your academy work?
I mean, soccer can bring you so many exposure opportunities, not only for just playing against, we played against Nigeria, Japan, and France in that tournament. Those were great experiences. You get to see the different style of play. You hear the players speak a different language, but just culturally as well, as a young athlete, a young human being, to be around other cultures, people from different backgrounds. I just think it's really, really healthy for the human development. And so I think you take those learning moments and you take them with you, and wherever your journey ends up taking you. So I think it's super positive. On the field, I think it's really important. We play, obviously in our conference, we play a lot of Texas teams. The competition is great. It's very competitive. Obviously, you talk about FC Dallas, their success, and Houston Dynamo as well. So a lot of great competition. But it is really, I think, refreshing and important for our kids to get international games. And that's something we'd like to add into our programming.
What have you noticed that Austin is doing differently to try to differentiate themselves from, clubs like Houston and Dallas? What are you guys doing that makes you special and stick out to make academy kids want to pick you?
Here we focus on every individual. So we have a pretty large staff, and I think we've kind of creatively structured things to be able to give each individual player a lot of attention. I think our connection with the first team staff, that Josh's openness to share, how they train, how they work, and the standard that they work at. I think that's really unique. I think the setup of our training facility and the way it's structured allows for players in our academy field on one side of the building to kind of get a sneak peek at what those fields look like over there on the first team, and just to have that extra motivation, knowing that you're definitely not there yet, but it is close, it is possible. It allows kids to dream. So I think some of that intimacy here we have at the training site is quite unique.
Obviously, you have a lot of say in what players get in and what players don't. What advice would you give to younger players out there trying to find their way into, whether it be a club team or a high school team or an academy team? Do you have any general advice you'd give?
I think it's important to use your strengths to stand out. If you're the best leader and you're really talkative and vocal, in that moment, when you're trying out, when you're training and playing, you need to be vocal and loud, and the coaches need to hear you. If you're the fastest player, you need to show that. You need to make a way, make sure you stand out, and make sure you have something unique that stands out. I think that's really important. And then also, just not putting too much pressure on yourself. There are going to be multiple opportunities for kids to be seen, and it's not life and death. It is still soccer. This is a game, and I think it's important for kids to not put too much pressure on themselves in this process.
Is green your favorite color now, Tyson?
It is. It used to be blue. I grew up near the beach, but it's definitely Verde now.
That's awesome, man. Hey, thank you again so much for the time. Austin Academy, or Academy Director for Austin FC, Tyson Wahl, on the phone joining us. Thank you so much, man.
Hi, thank you so much for watching this show. We all really appreciate it here at the State Soccer Network. You can check out more information on our website, statesoccernetwork.com, to sign up your local high school soccer team for events and contests to win prizes, as well as check out local streamed games in your area. You can check out our socials as well at State Soccer Network on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Thanks so much for watching the show, and as always, keep supporting local soccer.